I am here with Kirsten Bradley, who is the co-founder of Milkwood, amazing brand, online education platform and book. Thanks for joining me, Kirsten. You have an amazing course called Permaculture Living. How does resilience fit into permaculture living for you and the Milkwood team?
Ooh. So, of course, there's so many types of resilience. There's, the personal level, there's the household level, community, ecosystemic, wider than that. For the Permaculture Living course, it came out of about 15 years of teaching intro to permaculture courses. And we wanted to sort of zone in on personal habits and actions that could both expand when done collectively and in movement, but also nourish people in order to get up the next day and make more change. So the course is sort of centered around that, and where the resilience comes into it is the knowing that there are actions and habits and projects that you can do on the very, very small scale that will then amplify both in your life and in your community to create more resilience, essentially. I think resilience is sometimes a misused word. I do think resilience can be very beautiful, and I do think there isn't any personal resilience without community resilience for, obvious pattern-based reasons that we can learn from the rest of our ecosystem. And that's just the way it is. That's the nature of resilience, that it is in the macro as well as the micro. Otherwise, it doesn't really work. Yeah.
Thanks. And in the community that you're building, what are some of the tangible things that you have in your toolkit for resilience on a community level?
Oh, all the normal permaculture stuff. Starting at your back door, getting your heart in order, getting your own sort of, ability to get up in the morning strong, and then working out from there. There's a million ways to build resilience in your community and in your street and in your town and beyond that. And our communities these days are not necessarily always just the people in our street. There is all our online communities, which, while they are virtual, can be just as nourishing and just as important in movement and to create change as all the people that live within 5 kilometres of you. So in our work, we do a lot of encouraging people into that space, into whatever space fits for them, and everybody's different levels of ability and everybody's different levels of, everything. It's sometimes easier for people to start in online community and then express those desires and wishes into their actual neighbourhood in a second way, because they've gathered the encouragement from their online community, which is a weird thing, but that's the world that we live in. And I say, yeah, whatever works.
One thing that is so admirable about the Milkwood brand is how accessible it is, and I imagine that's quite a conscious choice, and would love to hear some of the thought process that has gone into making it accessible for people who might be new to permaculture.
I actually really love working in that sort of doorway space, the sort of welcoming people into this sort of knowledge. I'm a big nerd on a lot of topics, of course, but I've always really enjoyed the act of making the beginning of the information as accessible as possible, and then that trusting, once people are worded up on the basic, why this stuff is important, that they will use their own knowledge bank and their own networks and their own communities to take that wherever their skills and their interests lead. And I think the more we can make these ideas and these concepts accessible, and more importantly, reconnect people to these concepts, because, many of these concepts, permaculture principles and ethics, are part of people's histories. It's part of different people's ancestral histories, but we all have connections to those sorts of ethics. And yeah, it's as much about welcoming people in and giving them permission to reconnect with their innate knowledge and the knowledge around them in their ecosystem and in their community, as it is about teaching people things. And I would much rather help people get into a state where they feel that they can take it from there, rather than be the be-all and end-all of and this is exactly what you need to know. So it's attitudinal, but I think that's where we can do the most good.
Thank you. And so we've spoken about at a household level and a community level. What about a global Earth level? What are your dreams for the future of our planet home?
Land back. and everything that flows from that, pretty much.
A perfect place.
I don't know where to go.
A perfect place to end. Thank you for your time, Kirsten.